Hi everybody, it's Joey and I'm here to do... Okay, there we go. I'm here to do a episode 2 review of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, like I promised, every single Wednesday night, or whenever you're gonna watch, whenever I upload this, it probably will be tonight. But sorry about the AC is on. Maybe should I shut that off? I'm gonna keep it on because I am hot. So hopefully you can hear me. I think you can. Okay, so. Okay. So first things first. My hair's a mess. It was raining all day. I had a long day at school. I just touched up my makeup a little bit. I redid my lipstick and I put some powder on my face. I retouched it up a little bit. It wasn't that crazy. But anyways, let's get on to the second episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey Season 8, which it was called Let Them Eat Cake. Or Let Them Throw Cake. I forgot what it was. Let Them Throw Cake, Let Them Eat Cake. Okay. Here are my notes, and I have a lot of notes. There's a lot to get through, so let's get through it. So, there was a couple things I forgot to mention in last week's episode, which I'll just mention right now. They're just two little things. They weren't that big deals. First thing was, Melissa did say, I did tell you guys last week that, Melissa's co-worker packed up and went to Kim D. But I forgot to mention that she actually, I don't know if it was steal, but took all of Melissa's clothes that were in the store Envy and brought them to Kim D. Which is kind of weird. Why would Kim D want Melissa's clothes? You know? Especially when Kim D thinks Melissa's clothes look cheap or whatever else she says. So yeah, I forgot to mention that not only did she leave and she just left or whatever, she also stole the clothes and took it to Kim D. So Melissa was left with a vacant store. There was not a piece of clothing, not a sock in her store. So the second thing was, I forgot to mention, Siggy did throw wine on the table. I forgot to mention that. I will mention that here, which is going to be in the beginning. She did throw one, because this episode starts off to where the last episode ended off, which was the cake throwing. So yeah, Siggy did throw wine on the table. Now, I would totally see Siggy's side to this, which I do. I do see Siggy's side to this. Do I think she's overreacting? Maybe a little bit. But I do feel like she's a right to be upset over this because it probably was an expensive cake. It was a beautiful cake, and it was not meant to be thrown across a restaurant. It was not meant for that. It was meant to be eaten and adored because it was a beautiful cake. However, she does go too far with this because she does say, you know, I'm classy, you guys are trashy, blah, 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 blah. She says this in the opening of the episode while she's picking up the cake. You know, you guys are trashy, have a bigger IQ, all this stuff. All that's not necessary because, first of all, that's not true, and she knows that's not true. And second of all, you know, it is a little contradictory because she did act a fool last episode. She did. I mean, coming into the restaurant when they were having dinner, screaming about everything. I don't know what the hell she was screaming about. All these people screaming to all these friends, I guess she had. But that's not the way you enter a restaurant. Number 2 was throwing the wine on the table. Now, if she did not do those two things, I probably would be a little more understanding of Siggy and her feelings in this. But since she did do those two things, just, you know, a night before, whatever, it kind of makes her point look a little bit contradictory. Anyway, she does say some crazy things to them. You know, you're trashy, you're from Jersey, this, that, and the other thing. She goes on and on and on while she's picking up the cake. She tells Margaret to go fuck herself. She tells all of them to go fuck themselves, honestly. So yeah, they show a little bit more after the cake throw, but basically, that's what happened last episode. Now, the next day was, I was also really shocked that she said, you guys have a low IQ, because she knows Teresa gets very upset when people call her stupid or anything like that. So, I'm very shocked that Siggy would say that to Teresa. Okay, so basically the next morning they wake up in Boca, they're still in Boca, they all are talking about what happened the night before. You know, Melissa calls her husband Joe, Siggy calls her husband, Teresa, I don't know, I remember who she calls. What does she call it? I don't think she calls anybody. I know, but she talks about it too. They all talk about the cake. what have you. This all started with a cake. Imagine. So they're all like about the cake, talking about this cake, you know? Now, this is where you start to see the alliances form. So, Melissa, Teresa, Danielle, and Margaret take a van to the beach to do yoga. Teresa's teaching yoga to them at the beach. Siggy and Dolores were not invited to this. Now, they said they didn't invite them, or that they did invite them, but they didn't respond in the group text. I don't think they would have went. I don't think they wanted to go to the yoga thing, honestly. But they didn't just do yoga at the beach. They also did something for Teresa's memorial service, which I will get to in a second. A memorial service for her mother, like a memorial service for her mother at the beach. So Dolores and Siggy just went out for brunch or something by themselves. They were fine with not going to the beach to do yoga. However, they did not know about the memorial service for Teresa's mother. Had they have known that, they would have went, they said, but they didn't know about that, and they're upset that they weren't invited to that. However, Teresa and them did not know. The only person who knew about this memorial thing was Margaret, because Margaret was the one who planned it and ordered the bouquet of flowers or whatever. So, Margaret was the only one that would know about this. Now, okay, this is where I get a little tricky with Margaret. I love Margaret, but you do get invited. Now, I know that Siggy and Margaret were not the best of friends, like they were the best of friends, but Siggy did introduce Margaret, technically to the group, and, however, at the end of the day, they all are still in Boca together. You know what I mean? It's not just, because Siggy planned the trip or this, or whatever it is, that Margaret has to go wherever Siggy goes. You know what I mean? If they're all filming a show together, Margaret's part of the cast. If she wants to go along with Teresa, Melissa, and Danielle to film a scene at the beach, then let her do that. She's a cast member at this point. She's not just a friend of Siggy's. Now she's a cast member. So now she has to get to know everybody. So it's like two sides of the coin. It's iffy. I understand Siggy's part, but I also understand Margaret's side of that situation. Okay. But anyways, they did go to the beach. I cried because they all said something about someone they miss, about someone they love and miss, and who died. Melissa mentioned her father. Margaret mentioned her grandmother. Danielle mentioned her mother, which I think is her adopted mother, which is still her mother. I mean, that's her mother, but I do believe in season 2, if I recall, she was trying to look for her biological mother. So I know that's not her biological mother, but that is still her mother. And also, Teresa, of course, spoke about her mother that just recently died. So Teresa was the one who sent the bouquet of flowers out into the ocean. I think this was very sweet of Margaret to do for Teresa. I think this was a really great idea. I think it was really sweet. I mean, that's all I can really say, but it was really sweet. And I did choke up and I did cry a little bit. It was a really nice moment. It really was. So to Siggy. I don't know what that says. I have horrible handwriting, so I should write a little neater. Anyways, so after the beach, and after Siggy and Dolores have brunch, they all get to meet up in the van. They all meet up in the van together to go to Siggy's best friend's house in Boca, in Florida. Not best friend, but a friend of hers. In the van, it was very awkward and weird. Just dead silence. Just dead silence. I mean, it really was just silent in there. I mean, looked very awkward and very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable, that van ride. So anyways, before they enter the house, in front of the house, and before they knock on the door, Siggy turns around. I laughed at this part. This part was funny. She turns around, she goes, with her beach hat on, her sunglasses, the whole thing, she goes, I just want to let you know, I don't want a scene from like last night. I don't want you guys to be rude. I don't want you to chuck. We're gonna play tennis. I want you to chuck the tennis balls against the court or throw the tennis rackets across the court. I want you guys to be classy and blah blah blah, and be well behaved. They all were just staring at her. They were just like, Teresa said, "Why did you invite us?" Melissa said, "Okay, well, if you want us to be behaved, we'll do that. I mean, we are behaved, whatever." So anyways, then Siggy ends the conversation, then she knocks on the door and the friend comes out and introduces the friend to everyone. They go in the backyard. Her house is gorgeous, by the way. It looks like a resort. They go to, which I don't understand. I feel like they should all just stayed at her house because her house doesn't look like a resort. So anyways, so then they go in the backyard and they sit down to have drinks in Siggy's friend's backyard, and they're talking, and Danielle mentions about the memorial they had at the beach earlier that day, which Siggy and Dolores had yet to not know about. And they get very upset immediately. Dolores like, "I've been friends with Teresa for so long. I don't understand why I wasn't invited to this." Siggy was upset because Margaret plans it and she invited Margaret to this group of girls, and now she's doing these things behind her back. As I said earlier, I get both sides. I get Margaret's side in it because, you know, she's a cast member, she's going to get to know them, and she's filming with them. But Siggy did technically introduce them, and they just met each other, and it's kind of weird for Margaret to do with this whole thing for Teresa when they just met each other. So, what else? Okay, so Teresa goes into the pool, or gets a swimming lesson from this hot guy. He was cute, he was hot. I mean, he wasn't like gorgeous, but I mean, he had a nice body. So whatever, she's gonna go swimming lesson in the pool with Danielle and Melissa, while Siggy, Dolores, and Margaret go to the tennis courts and play tennis. Dolores says something about Margaret, which I found very striking, because I didn't think Dolores was this mad at Margaret. She goes, in the confessional, she goes, "I'm about to backhand this bitch." I'm like, I had to rewind it and do a retake, because I was like, backhand this bitch? I'm like, what the hell did Margaret do to you? So, after they played tennis, Siggy was acting like an animal on the court. Like, she was getting it in, she was hitting those balls left, right, and center. She was doing her thing. After the tennis, Siggy pulls her friend aside to talk about the cake, and the friend was just appalled and was taking Siggy's side, because she was like, "I don't understand, you know, where these animals were raised or where these people came from. My friends would never act like this." While that was going on, Margaret and Dolores were still on the tennis court, and they were having a conversation of their own about the night before. And Margaret was saying, you know, Siggy's acting really weird, Siggy's acting very standoffish, you know, she was very upset with us, calling them names about the cake. And Dolores was 100% defending Siggy, 100 billion% was defending her, being like, "Well, you know what, that's what she said, she was upset in the moment, you guys should just, you know, take it for what it is, you know, it is what it is." Melissa says things to Siggy, you know, it is what it is, they should just apologize to her for throwing the cake, it was a beautiful cake. And Margaret, I think Margaret wanted to say more, but I think she was more in shock about how angry Dolores was getting. So she kind of just was like, "Whoa, wait a second." And then Dolores stormed away. She said, "I'm getting fucking pissed," and she stormed out of the tennis courts. After that, okay, Siggy does. Okay, so after that, the rest of the episode is at Siggy's house in Boca, or beach house or whatever, and she invites all the girls over for dinner, all of them. He has this professional chef called Delicious or Baby Daddy. What is it called? Sexy Daddy, Sexy Chef. I don't know what the hell he was called. He was making all the food. There was also very awkward. You know, Teresa and Siggy had an awkward exchange, sitting down with a glass of wine. They had an awkward exchange. Now we get down to the dinner table, and they're sitting down at the table. And Siggy already said earlier to her friend that she was going to speak to them that night about the whole cake thing. She needed to get it off her chest, because she's very upset over this cake thing. She was crying at brunch with Dolores over this. Like, she's very upset over this. I mean, she's overreacting, but it's Siggy. So, literally, I think the first course, not even the first course, I think it was like the pre-appetizer was served. It was like a crab cake. And Teresa was like, this shit's very salty, like whispering to Melissa, this shit's very salty. I don't like how salty this is, to Melissa. I thought that was funny. So, they're talking, blah, 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 blah. And then Siggy decides to go, well, you know what, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. And you know what, you guys are all acting like nothing had happened the night before. And, I'm just going to talk about it. So she starts going in about the cake and how she's very upset with them and going back and forth. Siggy, I love Siggy to death, but this is where Siggy loses me. Siggy remembers everything she said the night before. So for her, I know she does. So for her to play off, to be like, well, I don't remember the things I said. I remember telling you to go fuck yourself. I don't remember saying, you guys are from Jersey. I don't remember saying those things. She knows she said those things. Because I think she even said it earlier that day, too, to her friend and to Dolores. I mean, this is what she said this is what she thought about the situation. So, listen, that's what she said. So, for her to play it off that she didn't say it, we all can read between the lines there. Then, while Melissa and Siggy are going at it with Teresa and Melissa going at it with Siggy, Margaret gets involved. And Margaret goes, she asks her, well, if there was a real life crisis, how would you react? Would you have reacted the same way? And Siggy got very pissed about that. She's like, I would have reacted way worse, just to let you know, blah, 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 going in on Margaret. And then Margaret goes, you telling these girls that, she says, I really don't like how, you cried over a cake. Who does that? You saying about the crying over the cake and saying we're trashy and all this other saying they're trashy and everything is contradictory because, you were acting crazy the night before at the restaurant and you were throwing wine on the table that night before they even threw the cake. You were throwing wine across the table. So, that's like the pot calling the kettle black. And Siggy was like, I don't give a shit, just going in. Then Danielle gets involved. It was like, it's her cake. She can do whatever she wants with it. Now, this situation, I understand both sides, too, of this. I mean, it's childish, but I understand both sides of this. I understand where Melissa and Teresa and all the rest are coming from, because it's a cake. They wanted to have fun. They're filming a show. They wanted to throw a little scene. They wanted to have fun. Whatever. Siggy's side of it is, I bought this expensive cake. This was not meant for this. It's beautiful cake. Why throw it across the restaurant? I mean, that's not what you do. So I understand both sides of it. I do. Then Siggy calls Melissa and Teresa trashy, and Danielle flips the fuck out. Danielle goes, I never seen Danielle this upset, actually, even in season 1 and season 2. She's like, don't ever fucking call them trashy. I'm not trashy, they're not trashy. Don't ever fucking say that shit again. So he goes, well, trashy, and just says trashy a million times over. And then, that's when Melissa gets very upset, and Teresa. And Melissa, I was shocked about Melissa. I didn't know she had this in her. She chucks a glass across the table. Not chucks it, but she I don't know how to say it. She throws it across in the middle of the table. I don't know. And she goes, you know what? Fuck this dinner. I'm not having this dinner again, or something with you. Teresa's like, no one calls me and my sister look trash. I'm out of here. Dolores like, I'll make you a doggy bag. And Teresa's like, no, I don't want that fucking doggy bag. The crab cakes were salty as fuck. I don't want that shit. And Siggy's like, really? That was just uncalled for, saying the crab cake was salty. Anyways, so Dolores and Siggy are now against Margaret, Danielle, Melissa, and Teresa. The whole four against Siggy and Dolores. Dolores is very upset about this because Dolores is just like... Dolores at the table was defending Siggy 100%. Teresa was upset over it. She was like, I don't understand this. We've been friends for so many years. You defend Siggy. So basically, Dolores is upset that Margaret and Danielle are in the group of friends now because she thinks that those two are the reason why everything's shattering into pieces. Their friendship, their circle of friends. That's the end of the episode. That's it. I got everything. Next episode, Siggy and Teresa meet and talk about Margaret. That's what it looks like. It probably talks about the cake too, but talks about Margaret. Margaret has a purse line party for her new purse line. Siggy does not show up, but Teresa lets Margaret know that Siggy was talking about her at the dinner they had. This is all in the preview. Then Margaret and Siggy meet, and that doesn't look like it goes well. So that's it. This video is probably so long. I loved this episode. Again, I laughed, I cried, I was shocked, I cringed. I mean, all the emotions. amazing, amazing. I love this episode's better than even last week. It was so freaking good. This season is gonna be so amazing. Alright, well, that's it. I love you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed the review. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!